morning, I'm Josiah.
I'm Paulina.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ezekiel.
I'm Ureli.
Alright, when something becomes easy to use, people tend to start to depend on it. But what happens when that tool becomes so convenient that it replaces our effort instead of supporting it? So today our group is going to talk about and examine the growing problem of AI dependency in education and determine how students and teachers can make effective decisions about its use. So as college students, we are directly involved in this issue due to our experience and how easily accessible AI is for us for assistance on assignments and studying. And a recent Pew Research Center report found that over 1/4 of students and teens today use AI tools for schoolwork, and that reliance is rapidly rising. At the same time, education researchers warn that frequent dependence on automated tools may actually weaken students' critical thinking skills and development, and weaken students' ability to build problem-solving skills on their own. These findings show that AI is not just an update in technology, but is actually a challenge that directly affects how we learn and think. So unregulated use of AI in the classroom has become a growing educational problem, and it can limit creativity, reduce critical thinking development, and complicate teacher responsibilities. So while using a problem-solving approach today, our group will talk about and analyze how excessive AI reliance contributes to dependency that limits personal growth and critical thinking skills, and also how AI is changing teachers' roles and solutions that identify solutions to class use of technology. And lastly, propose decision-based solutions like ethical policies and structural guidelines that allow AI to support learning without replacing intellectual effort.
We're gonna talk about some organizations and studies that support our information about what makes the students more lazy when it comes to using AI. One of the organizations that we did research on, it was Harvard Graduate School. They state that most of the students during the past 2024 and 2025, their percentage has been up by 20%, which it says that most of the students nowadays keep using AI to answer most of their assignments. What affects this? This pretty much saying that students don't really think about like what they're doing, and they just pretty much copy and paste all their information into their chat GPT, and then when it comes to their test, they just don't really know what they're supposed to do, and then this is what brings them to like get a low score. Also the usc.edu and sdsu.edu, they also state that during the past 2 years, a lot of students, they just been using AI, and then their percentage went up by 35%, which pretty much every year keeps going up because it's just technology, and then students just keep getting more lazy, and they just don't really care like about school, and they just don't think about what they're doing. Also, the Department of Science Direct and an organization of MDPI state that this is just something that they honestly didn't really know where it's going to get to a point later on. Science, it's something that just keeps growing continuously every year.
So hello everybody, my name's Yareli, and I'm gonna hand out sticky notes to each row, and I want you guys to write yes or no to whether you guys use AI or not. I'm gonna stick them up on the whiteboard just to like use it in my speech. Just hand it. No, it's fine. I just put them on the side. Okay. So for this, I'm gonna talk about AI. AI is starting to take over our lives, and we see that with everybody using it. And with the sticky note activity that I gave you guys, it's basically gonna be talking about, I'm gonna use that as how much people use it. My 3 points are gonna be talking about lesson planning, communication, and usage, and my focus is gonna be on for teachers because it correlates with my studies. So the first point is lesson planning, and as a liberal studies major, lesson planning is a really big part of education and everything like that. It takes up a lot of time, and it's very time consuming and very hard to do. A study from 2025 of Indiana University article said that AI usually pulls a lot of misinformation, and I feel like that has been noticed because a lot of people get caught using sources from ChatGPT, and a lot of them are misinformation and aren't the right thing, or they give you the wrong sources. If teachers are going to be using AI to create lesson plans, I feel like that's kind of not creative and not authentic enough. It also lacks their unique touch because a lot of teachers are what shape the future. So like imagine our teachers are straight computers, and that's just like, you wouldn't want that. You'd want someone that actually helps you out. So that goes into my second point of communication. So teachers need to learn habits and how to use it. A research by Pew Research Center, 2025, stated that teachers should learn the habits and how to use it because a lot of students are sneaky and like to hide that they use AI. The way that they can learn these habits that students are doing is by attending workshops, and usually if they attend the workshops, they'll learn how to utilize AI and as well as to how to spot it in a student's work. And if a student is caught, I feel like they should punish them, and I think that's really important that they should punish them because AI basically does all the work for you, and it's not really letting you critically think. And my second research point for communication is a PBS video that I saw. PBS is very informative, and I feel like it's important that you guys utilize that. But this PBS video that I used partnered up is talking about how AI is starting to partner up with schools, and they used parent perspectives on if their students should be using AI or not. And a lot of parents were not against it because they admitted that they use AI. So I think that that's important, that we should be more educated on it. And my last point is the usage. So I'm gonna go ahead and collect all of them and make sure. So thank you guys for putting yes or no if you guys used AI. I'm gonna compare this, and I see that most of you guys use AI, and I'm thankful that you guys were truthful about that. Somebody put yes and no. Does anybody want to explain why they put yes or no? No? Okay. Because they said only extra support, not to do homework. Okay, I would agree with that because I kind of do that too. I'm gonna admit that. And only 2 people said no. With this, I think that it brings awareness to make sure not to use AI as much because it also affects our environment if you're using it a lot. Overall, AI may be a powerful tool, but it is not something that can replace teachers and your critical thinking. I'm going to pass it over to the pros and cons of using AI.
So AI is everywhere. It's in our classrooms, our technology, like our phones, laptops, and iPads. But there's no doubt about it. So according to Campbell Academic Technology Services, it found that 85% of students use AI and 54 use it weekly, which means more than half of us are using AI on a weekly basis. AI is kind of like a study buddy. It like gives you all the answers. It's very fast and easy, but and it's really helpful for helping us brainstorm ideas or make studying faster. But it can also bring issues that we can't ignore. So if you want the best out of this technology, it's important we set clear guidelines to help us use AI responsibly instead of letting it take over our learning completely. So one of the biggest concerns is how AI can weaken academic integrity in the actual learning process. So the University of Canada conducted a study showing that when students rely too heavily on AI, they often skip the understanding part of the actual assignments altogether. So although it's really easy and it helps get work turned in on time, it's a huge problem because assignments aren't actually being, they're not, sorry, they're not actually being used as a way to study and help you grow in the class rather than just being a tool to help you complete it faster. An article published by Forbes also backs this up, explaining that the overuse of AI can seriously weaken essential academic skills, especially writing and critical thinking. So these skills aren't just important for the class that we're taking, but they're important for the rest of college and our careers and the future. So when students let AI do the thinking for them, they lose the chance to build these critical thinking skills and mental muscles that education is supposed to strengthen. AI also becomes a tool that supports learning, but it can also become it can also become harmful for learning. Another issue is how AI affects student-teacher interactions. So college is supposed to be a place where students build relationships with their teachers, but AI kind of limits that because we are relying on AI to help us rather than reaching out. So the University of Alabama found that instructors struggle to understand what their students actually need when AI fills in every gap. If a student never asks for help, the professor might think the class is going perfectly fine. Meanwhile, the student might just be totally lost and relying on AI to stay afloat. So this disconnection can make classes harder instead of easier. When teachers don't know what students are struggling with, they can't adjust their lessons, give better explanations, or offer extra support. AI can never replace the experience of talking to a real instructor, someone who understands the course. So although AI feels convenient, relying on it too much can actually create barriers between students and the people who are supposed to guide them. So the big question is, how do we fix it? So the solution starts with schools creating clear, consistent AI use policies that can guide both students and teachers. Right now, every professor seems to have their own rules. Some love AI, some hate it, and some don't really know how to feel about it, and which can get confusing fast. So students shouldn't have to guess whether using AI on an assignment is allowed or considered cheating. Instead, schools should set rules that explain exactly why AI can be used or when it should not. For example, maybe AI is allowed for brainstorming and creating guidelines and reviewing material, but not for writing full essays or completed graded assignments. Having these guidelines protects academic integrity, which still encourages students to use AI in helpful and appropriate ways. It also makes expectations clear for teachers so they can be consistent across their courses. Another part is making sure teachers and instructors are trained to detect AI-generated work or use AI detection tools responsibly. So this isn't just about catching students and punishing them, but rather helping them succeed in the class. Once both students and teachers understand how AI fits into the classroom, it becomes a tool for success instead of a problem. And honestly, that's the whole point. AI isn't the problem, it's just misusing it. If we set clear rules, encourage real communication, and use AI in a balanced way, we can take advantage of what this technology offers without losing the true purpose of education. AI can be a powerful tool that helps us grow, but only if we make sure it supports us instead of replacing it. With smart policies, better training, and responsible use, AI can be something that strengthens our college experience, not something that weakens it.
So as we conclude our presentation today, I just want to return to the central idea that kind of kicked off why we chose this topic. which is that the unregulated use of AI in classrooms today is becoming a serious problem in education. If AI is used without like a clear structure or responsibility, it can limit the students' creativity, problem-solving skills, and critical thinking development. Throughout this presentation, we examined how excessive reliance on AI contributes to unnecessary and increased dependency, which ultimately limits students' personal growth and their ability to think independently. Research published by John Paul Miranda and others this year in the Pitfalls of AI Integration in Education, which was a journal, even supposed this concern, showing a connection between increased AI use and weakened academic skills between the students that they surveyed. We also discussed how AI is changing the role of teachers in classrooms today. Educators today are no longer just delivering information, they're also now being asked to manage, monitor, and guide AI usage of students in classrooms. This new shift also brings along new challenges, especially when teachers are not given enough tools to effectively analyze and identify how students are using AI, which is again why we emphasize the importance of proper training and classroom strategies. We believe that AI should not replace learning, it should rather enhance it. And to make that possible, we gave some decision-based solutions, including ethical policies and structured guidelines, which we believe can allow AI to support education without replacing the genuine intellectual effort of students. At the heart of all of this is the purpose of our presentation today. Our goal was to examine the growing problem of AI dependency in education, and also to determine how both students and teachers can make better decisions about its use. This issue is currently, especially important to us because as college students, we are directly connected to it. As you can see, we all use AI for like assignments or to study or even to like just brainstorm ideas. I'm pretty sure all of us used AI in this class at least once when we were stuck with something. So we think that AI is not something futuristic, not something that we see in like sci-fi or something. It's a tool and it's a technology that is currently being used in our day-to-day lives. A survey that was conducted by the National Education Association in 2024 found that the use of AI jumped from 51% to 67% in just 1 year. Even more striking is that the student percentage use rose from 58% to 70% within that same year. These statistics show that AI is not just slowly entering education, but that it's rapidly becoming the norm among students. At the same time, research also warns us about the over-reliance and the risks of relying completely on AI. A study that was published in Open Education Research last year found that the habitual dependence on generative AI tools can reduce students' long-term critical thinking skills and problem-solving skills. This is a serious concern because problem-solving skills are one of the most important skills students develop, which is kind of why our parents send us to schools and colleges. And if we allow AI to, do the job of thinking for us, then we are risking the very abilities that, kind of is the reason why we are being sent to study in schools. These findings kind of make one thing clear. AI is not just a technological update, it's a decision-making challenge that directly affects how we learn and how we think and how we implement it in our daily lives. Every time we choose whether to rely on AI or work through the problem ourselves, we're shaping our future abilities. To sum up, AI has become more powerful and more advanced over the years, but in the end, whether it sharpens our minds or whether it softens our minds, it's completely up to the choices that we make today. I would like to end with a quote from a recent article by Grade AI, which is a data analytics company that provides information for schools and students on how technologies are being implemented. And I believe that this captures the balance that we were trying to emphasize throughout our presentation. It states that AI tutoring can transform learning, but only when equity and independence are baked into the design. Essentially saying that AI can improve our education meaningfully, but only if we use it to promote fairness, independence, and genuine learning among students. Thank you.
Do you guys
Does
have any?
anybody have any questions?